Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani. I have been solving data sufficiency problems out of this book here, GMAT Review, the official guide, the 12th edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You should be able to find it at mba.com. The problem that I'm about to solve is the one that you're going to find on page number 277, the very first problem, number 46. Let's take a look at it, see what he has to say. It says, so turn to page number 277 and read the problem with me. It says, if r is represented by a decimal, if r is represented by the decimal 0.t5, what is t? That's the question. What is t? So t is your tenth digit, and our job is to figure out what that t is. For example, this decimal that we're dealing with, it may be 0.15, in which case the t would be 1, or it could be 0.25, in which case the t would be 2, or 0.35, or 0.45, or 0.75, or 0.95, whatever that is. Or it could be 0.05. There are 10 possibilities. There are 10 possibilities as it stands right now. Since we know nothing about t, there are 10 possible values that t can assume, all the way from 0 to 9, from 0.05 to all the way to 0.95. Our job is to figure out what the t is. Let's see what they give us in the first statement. Since this is a data sufficiency problem, the very first thing we should do is write down AD BCE. AD BCE. Get in the habit. Let's see what they give us in the first statement. The first statement tells us that this r that we're dealing with, this decimal, which is what they're calling r, they're telling us that this r is less than a third. Well, there you go. That actually narrows the scope quite a bit, because as it stands, we had 10 possibilities. As I said before, we had 0.35, 0.45, 0.55, 0.65, 0.75, 0.85, and 0.95. As it stood at that stage in the story, we had to figure out what the 10th digit was. We are told that the 100th digit is 5. That is fixed. We know it's 5. Our job is to figure out what the 10th digit is, and there were 10 possibilities, as I said already, from 0 through 9. But the first statement tells us that this r, the decimal r, is less than a third. Well, if it's less than a third, that actually narrows down the scope quite a lot, because it cannot be anything more than, it can be 3.35, because if it were, it's a hypothetical statement, because by now we know that it is less than a third. If it were 0.35, it would have been more than 1/3. But since we are told that r is less than a third, all of these things are ruled out. It's all ruled out. It has to be one of these three values. The t that we're dealing with has to be either a 0, or a 1, or a 2. But still, that does not alter the fact that we do not yet know. We do not still know what t is. All we have done, all the first statement does, all that the first statement does, is to narrow down the scope to 3 possible scenarios. T could be 0, t could be 1, or t could be 2. It's not enough to tell us what exactly the t is. Question is, what is t? And based on what you told me just now, I would say, well, t could be 0, or 1, or 2. It's not enough. The first statement is not enough to tell us what exactly the t is. And that tells us that the answer cannot be A, nor can it be D. Let's look at the second statement. Let's see if second statement does a better job. Second statement tells us that R is less than a tenth. Oh, there you go. R is less than a tenth. Well, if it's less than a tenth, it cannot be 0.15, and it also cannot be 0.25. Aha! That means that t must be 0. This implies that our 10th digit must be 0. Of course, that was the question, what is t? T is 0. Second statement by itself is enough. But first statement, as we saw a little while ago, by itself, only narrowed down our possible scenarios to 3. 0, 1 and 2. But second statement definitely tells us that t, whatever it is, well, not rather, I take it back, there is no such thing as whatever it is. Second statement tells us that t must be 0, because it has to be less than a tenth. That rules out 0.15, 0.25, it rules out everything except 0.05, because this 5 is fixed, so there is only one possibility for the 100th value, because we are told it is 5, that's all. So second statement by itself is enough. The answer therefore is B. And that was all. That's all there is. I hope that you found it helpful. If you wish to get hold of me for personal private tutoring, you get hold of me. If you wish to get hold of me for personal private tutoring, send me an email. Go to my website at prep4gmail.com or kishwaniprep.com and send me an email. Alright? Thank you.